So my name is Geoff Wright, and I have two things to pitch. The first isn't really a pitch. The first is during hackathon, my principal thing I'm planning to do is I'm going to be teaching one or two classes, basically introduction to coding classes. We did this last year as kind of an experimental thing. We had a lot of interest. I think this year we'll have a lot too. I'm gonna go and run people through the Code Academy Intro to JavaScript class and potentially also the Intro to HTML classes, depending on exactly who we get and what their interests are. But here's the thing I'm hoping. I don't know if you guys have seen the Code Academy classes before. They're actually they're excellent. I've used them to help to get a lot of people started. And like any self-paced class, really, you get folks going, and they quickly start to move at different rates. Some people blow right through them. Some people move more slowly. Some people only have, they can be here for a few hours. Some people can be here all weekend. So what I'm actually hoping to do is on the first hour and a half or so on both Saturday and Sunday, that hackathon I'm going to spend with whoever we get as students, and then I'm going to let them go. I would love to have some additional instructional help. That doesn't mean that you could not also be working on another project. I just like to have a few people in the room who are willing to work with newcomers in programming. So that as these folks have questions, because what happens is they wander through the courses, and every once in a while they just get stuck. They need somebody to come help unstick them. And honestly, this sort of happened organically last year anyway, even though we didn't plan it this way. People would get stuck, and something would just notice. But what I was thinking is during the hackathon, if we had people who were willing to identify themselves in some way, we can have name tags of different colors, lamps.
If they had boop?
Yeah, I can your class.
Exactly. So if we can get boop done before the hackathon, Shane, we can just go ahead and set the platform. But no, if people are willing to identify themselves, and you can just, if you're interested, come see me after this, and we can chat about it a little bit further. But it's a great way both to get people involved, to get people who are interested in starting coding. It also gets a whole kind of element of people into the hackathon, and sort of gets them going in this universe and meeting people too. So that's idea number one. The second thing is actually more of a project pitch. So I've been working with a number of folks, Lance, several folks with the school district, and we're working on the relatively ambitious goal of getting coding introduced in a K through 12 way through the school district. It's not a short road, but we've already made progress. We're at a really, and again, if you have interest, I'm going to give you just super cursory overview, but feel free to come grab me afterwards. I don't take a huge amount of time with this. But we're at the point where we have got a teacher actively teaching after school program. And what we are doing, and they are actually teaching to 21st century schools, which sounds a lot better than it really is. In fact, these schools are schools that have extra money. The reason they have extra money is they're teaching to kids who are low income. I mean, they're basically sort of the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. And we are doing this in the form of before and after school programs because we're not into the classroom yet. And the goal is to sort of get experience doing this with teachers, try to expand that program, and then once we're good at that, start bringing that into the regular classroom. One of the big challenges that we have in doing this is that the kids that we're dealing with don't reliably have access at home. That means that a lot of times they don't have either the equipment or they don't have an internet connection. We are incredibly lucky to have Alaska Communications coming in as a partner. They are willing to provide internet access to the kids in this program who don't already have it for kids who kind of meet certain criteria. Once they're in the program, they've shown commitment. They'll provide internet access for a period of, we're talking about 6 months to a year. The other thing that we're doing is working at using surplus equipment from the municipality of Anchorage. We're going to be taking that equipment and basically doing an installation of something so that they can have internet access at home. Project pitch for this is sitting down, and this is not, we're not going to be writing code here, we're not going to be developing anything, but what we're going to try to do is figure out what is the best way to set those machines up to meet the goals of the project, which is these kids need web access. All the stuff that we're teaching them is all online and web-based. It needs to be relatively simple and bulletproof, and to hopefully cut the support of the school district. I mean, these are effectively going to be unsupported machines we're giving the families. The reality is they're going to turn to the teachers who are teaching these classes for help when they can't use them. So we need to sort of think creatively about how do we make this easy for them to use, and as bulletproof as it can be, and as effective for what we're doing as we can. And the goal for the weekend would really be to sit down and kind of describe, what exactly we would install in this machine. Everything from, what's the OS going to be to when we get it there, how exactly do we provision it? We have a browser here. What are the default set of bookmarks on the browser? I mean, what default set of applications do they have access to? What do we sort of lock down and hide? All of that stuff. And yeah, that's the project. And I'll be thinking about this with people in this project anyway. But I thought this was a great opportunity to sort of broaden our view and get some other thoughtful people involved in thinking about this with us. So if we have interested people, I'm happy to do this alongside the teaching and programming stuff. But it'll mean that for the first hour and a half of each day, I'll be fully involved with that, and then I'll be probably about 80% free to work with whoever's willing to help me on this. And even if you're working on another project, if you want to jump in with thoughts and inputs over the course of the weekend, that would be great. Anything and everything is appreciated. We're really wide open. We're willing to do this any which way. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to walk back, and if you have questions for me, come and grab me. Otherwise, we have a variety of people presented here, so I think we can sort of all interact amongst ourselves and ask questions. But if you have questions and you're willing to help me teach any of these things, come grab me. I'll be right over there as soon as I get myself more beer fixing. Thanks, everybody.
On that note, I have